Hello everyone and welcome to my piano YouTube channel. I'm Greta, I'm a pianist and a piano teacher, and I've been asked quite some times already what my process is when I'm learning a new piece. I thought I couldn't really reply that on Instagram because it's a longer process, there's more things to mention, so I thought to make a YouTube video. So if you want to find out more about how am I learning a piece from A till Z, stay here. So first I think I should start by explaining that the process of learning a new piece has been changed through the years for me, because the better you get at something, the easier maybe you learn some things, So I think when I was a child, I would be less conscious about how I'm learning a piece. My theory knowledge was not that developed. I would have maybe spend more time learning the piece from beginning till end, trying to play it and just hoping that it happens by itself, while now I have maybe more aware way of learning a piece. But it also depends on the piece itself, because there are pieces that I'm learning in one way and other pieces I'm learning in a completely different way. Now I think first would be how I choose a piece. Well, before I would not really choose pieces by myself. I would get assigned pieces from my teacher. And yeah, many times when I would first listen to a piece, I would be like, do I even like this piece, But then I would keep learning it, and while I'm learning it, I would learn the style, I would learn the language of that piece, and then I would like it. And having actually a variety of repertoire throughout the years definitely helped me get better at learning new pieces, because then your vocabulary, your skills are so much better. But while I think if you stay and learn only one style all the time, so if you just like Chopin and then you play only Chopin, there's nothing wrong with that, but then obviously you will have difficulties, or you'll find very much out of comfort zone other type of repertoire, right? So that's what I'm saying. So I think the fact that I've been exposed to different types of pieces, style, composers throughout the years, things that I liked or didn't like, definitely helped me. So the first thing I would do after I would listen to a new piece that I just picked up, right? So I just took a piece and like, okay, I'm gonna learn this piece. Maybe I listened to it a few times. Now, the first thing I would do when I sit at the piano, I will be going through the whole piece from the beginning till the end by sight reading. So not a really good sight reading, not in like some places maybe in a slower tempo, some places in a faster tempo, but I'm going through to just be able to see an overview of the piece. What overview exactly am I seeing? I am seeing the form. So every piece has a form. It has one section, another section, a third section. Like a sonata form has ABA form, like the introduction, development, and recapitulation. And many other pieces have the same, or maybe they have repeated parts. So it helps you get an overview in harmony, but it also helps you get an overview of some tricky parts technically. You might notice a run that you already can expect that you'll have to practice much more, or you can already see some kind of places where you'll have to sit longer and to figure out what to do, or you can already see that there's a section that is easier to sight read, it's slower, and then it helps you a bit have better idea about the whole piece. That would be like if you would start painting a subject and object, you would first make the whole plan. You'll see how big you'll make it, you'll put it a bit in the paper, you'd calculate. You wouldn't start immediately drawing a small detail of the painting and then color it, right? No, you would first make the overview and then you'll start adding the details. Like building a house would be the same. You wouldn't build a wall first and then put paintings and color and then build the rest of the house. You would first make the whole plan, think a bit ahead how many floors it will have, then you make the ground correct, this kind of stuff. So I think it's very important to go a few times through the whole piece, figure out what is happening there. After going through the piece, I would then divide the piece into logical parts. So I would have like bigger sections, like let's say 3 big sections or 4 big sections or 2 big sections, doesn't matter. And then when I have those sections figured out, I will then divide those sections themselves in sections, I would go then smaller and smaller until I'm ended at phrases, for example. So then I'm like, okay, this section has, I don't know, 3 lines, and then each line consists of 3 phrases. And then I am then learning phrase by phrase. Again, depending on the piece, sometimes pieces don't have like long phrases that are the whole line. They have very small chunks of things. Then I would divide it until I'm able to have like bite-sized sections that are easy for me to memorize and practice. The next step would be to define what I'm learning in the piece. If I'm taking, for example, a section or a phrase or a part that I will be learning, I am really trying to be aware of what am I learning exactly. Am I learning the note? Am I learning the harmony? Am I learning by heart immediately? Am I learning the hand position, you know? And then what am I focusing on? Am I focusing on making the balance correct? I'm just basically picking up, and then there are technical things that I have to practice. There are musical things that I have to practice. Basically in this way I'm just going until the end of the piece. Then usually I'm not really playing too many times from beginning till the end, because that's not really a lot of points. I am actually doing once, for example, from beginning till the end, but then I am trying to consciously perform it. But what's the difference? Because when you perform it, you cannot analyze what you're doing and react to what you're doing. You have to, you can react, wait. You have to go away from being the musician who is playing in an orchestra to be the conductor. You have to still think about the whole thing. You have to be a bit on the third person and analyzing and a bit reacting and not practicing. So if you make a mistake, you cannot stop and correct it. You cannot stop. You just have to perform it. So like literally imitating concerts. I would record it, because that makes me feel as if I'm actually performing. After I do that a few times, I'm going back and then I'm analyzing. Then I'm like, okay, what I liked, what I didn't like, what has to be practiced, where am I just playing without any expression, and what would the idea be? When I am able to play a piece half by heart, half not, but until the end in the same tempo, in the correct tempo, because the tempo can be changing. When I am able to play a piece from the beginning till the end, even if it's some places I have to read, some places I have to play, then I'm seeing which places are more raw, which have to be practiced more, learned more. Then I'm trying immediately to learn by heart, because for me, learning by heart means being able to perform it and being able to express it. Because when I am personally, for me, if I am still with my eyes in the paper, I'm not really letting the piece come out from myself, from my own, I'm a bit reading it. So if I want to be really able to perform really well, I have to play it by heart. So I'm trying immediately to put the paper away, and the places that I don't know by heart, I am just looking with my hands away. I'm just looking at the paper like, that's what I have to do. Then I put it back away, and then I'm trying to play. So I also have a conscious moment when I'm learning by heart a piece. There is always one moment for every piece where I am actually thinking that now I have to sit, not play, not listen, but just imagine the piece in my head. Imagine a piece in my head and listen to what it says to me. And then I'm really like getting away from doing, and I'm just actually letting it in. And at that point, I'm always like having like a, oh my God, this is the story about the piece. This is how I should play. That's the character of the piece that I want to be able to express. And then each time after that, when I practice, I keep that in mind, and I'm trying to do all these technical difficulties. I'm practicing them, repeating part, keeping in mind what the musical goal would be, what the expression goal would be. And then when is the piece ready? It's never ready. So even if I could play a few times and I could perform a piece a few times from beginning to the end, that doesn't mean that that's it, What is the next step for me is keeping the piece in a good shape. So keeping keep practicing all the tricky parts, all the technical parts, keep practicing all the sound places when I actually have to create a good sound. Keep practicing them. In that moment, when I already have been playing a piece for quite some time, there is a big risk that I'm just always gonna sit and try to play it in the same way each time, and then everything gets a bit rusty and a bit tired. So I'm coming up with very creative or like super different ways of playing. So I'm playing, for example, super loud everything, then I'm gonna play super slow everything, then I'm gonna play everything staccato, everything legato, and then this kind of refreshes, first of all, your physical ability, second of all, your mind. Coming up with different rhythms. I take the same passage that just goes normally up, I'm doing it down or up with some different rhythms. So that is how I am keeping a piece in a good shape, especially if I've been playing the piece for some months, then I haven't been playing it a bit, and then I have a concert and I have to really get it back to good shape. Then I'll just take and work out physically, work out mentally, try to play as if it's the first time that I'm playing this piece, you know, like coming up with ways to keep it in a good shape. Because you will be very shocked, but it happens a lot that you keep playing the same piece for a long time, but at one point you start feeling that you're going backwards with it, and then you're like, wait, I'm playing it, why am I getting worse at it? It's just because we call it a bit, you put it in a conservation, you know, you just put it and you just keep playing it, and then you start shutting off a bit. It's like our brain has this ability that the more often you do a task, the less aware you'll get at doing it, so the more automatic it gets. So that's what we don't want. We don't want to get too automatic, because then it's like super not fresh and it's just like low in expression, you're mumbling stuff. So very important to keep practice. So that's a bit how I keep it in shape. So this was a bit of an overview of like a super general overview of how I'm learning a piece. I'm gonna say it again because there are so many different types of pieces, and I definitely am approaching all of them in a different way. Some pieces are easier to sight read for me, and then I'm just ending up sight reading all the time, and I'm never really learning them, or I am, but a bit later. Or there are some pieces that are a bit harder with rhythm and more things are happening. So because I'm sitting and figuring out what I'm doing there, I'm already learning automatically. So there are many ways to learn a piece, and also depending on how big the piece is, like how long I need, it's very different. If you would want to see a video of me learning one piece from the beginning till the end and filming it and then posting it, let me know. And if you find that you do the same as me when you learn a piece, if you could relate to everything you saw in this video, also let me know. I would like to see how you guys are doing it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.